Oh boy. Well, I mean, it is election season after all, so I guess it shouldn't be all that unexpected that I guess a substantial portion of my time and my videos are going to be at this particular junction about voting and the political processes and the religion of statism. But here we are. I mean, I'm inundated daily because I pay attention to stuff, but I'm inundated daily with, I mean, multiple articles. I mean, I have to weed through, and I bookmark and save a lot of the stuff. Well, most of the articles that I see relevant, and the list, if you've seen, you'd be like, holy, right? It's like it's unbelievable, and sometimes I even surprise myself at the fact that I can allow so much input into my mind every day and still retain a fairly substantial portion of it, considering I have other things that I have to deal with, like my personal life, friends, family, though, any other circumstances. I still have to deal with that completely different from all the stuff that I do to fight central planning, force coercion, and forced subjugation, I should say. But I I just what it is I pick from the big giant pool of all the shit where all well that's the thing, it's all the media, all the media pundits or personalities, the opinion formers and makers, they're fighting, they're battling each other to put forth their particular brand or message of what they want to use as central force or coercion to manipulate and control humans in a certain geographical landmass. And I'm the one that's telling you, stop falling for this central planning bullshit, right? But anyways, let's. This is an article from the Toronto Star. This one in particular is about the Aboriginal community. Why Mohawks don't vote in federal elections. The vast majority of us will not vote for a foreign leader, especially not one we have every reason to expect will be hostile. So what? Especially one, but what if one is kind to you? You will give up your sovereignty to, hey, if I can find a master that will treat me decent, I'll yield and obey. It's like, that's a stupid fucking Mohawk, and you pretend to be warriors. Jesus Christ. Some of the real warriors, and I know that's the propagandists, the people that put on these fucking, or would be interviewed by an established media, are obviously not the true Mohawk warriors. A true Mohawk warrior wouldn't have anything to do with this bullshit, and they probably fucking spew a lot of fucking rhetoric to the contrary to what their political masters try to put forth, right? And with you people, I stand in solidarity. Doesn't matter to me if you might have a fucking, some problem with the white man, or if you use collectivism or mysticism as the basis for your. I'll go toe to toe and point out the fact that I'm not part of that shit. Just because I have white skin, don't try to throw me into the same bus as all the fucking bullshit because you have some white oppressors, all right? Recognize the fact, just like I'll recognize the fact that not all Mohawks are collectivist morons that believe in the political process, the religion of statism. But here we go. Of course you shouldn't vote for any, of course no one should be voting, but you see, this is see how even your own political masters are trying to force you fucks or guilt you into becoming part of the religion of statism. Oh, they're going to guilt you. Oh, if you don't give money to your God, or if you don't promote your God, right? Yeah. That mob mentality, yeah, they're using it against you. Assembly of First Nations National Chief Barry Bellegarde is encouraging Aboriginals to get out and vote in the October 19th federal elections, specifically in 51 of what he calls key ridings where Indigenous peoples can supposedly make a difference with a simple X. Although his frustration with the Canadian government is certainly felt in all of our communities, his logic is flaws. It's true that Stephen Harper is not a friend to Native communities, to put it politely, and bills like C-10, which targets native tobacco, C-51, a far too broad anti-terror bill, and C-38, a bill that loosens environmental protections, including all of our vital waterways, are attacks on our communities. Throw in the failed First Nation Education Act, a paternalistic attempt to further gain control over our local education system, and it's easy to see why First Nations want Harper out. The problem, however, is that throwing Harper out doesn't begin to solve our problems. That's good. That's smart. So far, making a little bit of sense, right? Even if all the 51 ridings go orange or red, we won't all of a sudden be an equal part of the bigger equation, complete with respect for our rights, access to more of our traditional lands, or any of the host of items we continue to fight for. A simple election won't change this reality, whatever the outcome. That's true. Sure, Liberal leader Justin Trudeau said he would give more money to develop our communities, and he and the NDP leader Thomas Mulcair have both promised, if elected, to launch an inquiry into the appalling number of missing and murdered Indigenous women, but it's not enough. Anyways, well, okay. The 2005 Kelowna Accord was an arrangement between First Nations and Paul Martin's minority Liberal government that would have addressed shortfalls in Native education, health, and other vital areas, but was easily thrown to the side by Harper's Conservatives. This was part of a detestable, nonpartisan, and seemingly endless pattern, a casting aside by government after government of Canada's promises to First Nations. It has nothing to do with First Nations or anything. It's central planners will tell you, they'll promise the fucking world to you to gain power. This is what central planners do. Control freaks and sociopaths will tell you, snake oil salesmen will tell you whatever the fuck you need to hear to sell you that snake oil. If you can't at least fundamentally recognize that fact, then I don't give a flying fuck what your opinion is. Because it means you're just a mindless conformist or obedient slave to the ruling classes. And I don't care what your opinion is at that fucking point. So even though this article is laid out, decently enough, and they seem to have a fairly good grasp of good grammar and punctuation, but it still doesn't change the fact that you're trying to fucking talk about a fucking completely mystical entity, concept, or narrative about having central planners control and dictate the lives of millions and millions of people. Stop promoting this fucking bullshit. If you would at least do what I do on a daily basis and be honest with people, then we can, once you've built that foundation, that platform, right? Once you've got the foundation laid out, what you do after that, that's all subjective and it's open and up in the air for grabs. But the fact that you won't at least try to be honest and consistent and morally principled before you start this shit, it tells me that you're just more political opportunists. And I reject anyone that believes in the religion of statism because I see how inherently dangerous and destructive it is. You need to get on board. You need to catch up to speed. And the only way you can catch up to speed is you better fucking pick up the pace. Don't think the way you catch up to me is by slowing me down. No, you need to speed yourself the fuck up. A whole lot. I'm trying to help you. But don't try to throw a fucking lasso out there to fucking, maybe hog tie me and slow me down so that you can catch up. Because that's not the proper way of doing it. You need to learn how to catch up and maybe supersede the speed that I'm at. And if you can't, well, at least get along and get in line so that you're not falling even further behind. At this stage of the game, and I pay attention, I'm far ahead of the game for the most part, and all these idiots that are trying to play the political process game. I get it. It's like, politics is coming up. I want to gain the power. Reject it completely. And I realize true principles, true strength, and true courage, it requires, acceptance of the unknown, the acceptance of the fact that things aren't promised in any way, shape, or form. You got to work for that. But that's what builds character and strength and courage. Is not having a fear of the unknown, still being principled enough to be logically consistent, honest, and moral in your message. Quit muddying the waters, motherfuckers. You're not helping nobody. Except maybe yourselves if you're a political hack. It's Canadian Libertarian. I love liberty.